what measures are being done to address capacity gap? Any penalties? That's question number one. The next question here is strict implementation of WESM rules. Has anybody been penalized? Why and why not? Okay.
Sorry, I'll answer the rules portion, then I'll pass off to Toots on that. On the rules change side, obviously, the MSC is now working on penalties for that. Second thing is that in terms of the rules itself, it's only limited as to how much it can do. Now, the thing about the market is that it makes a fundamental assumption that people want to sell. And that assumption is not something you can actually take care of by rules. A private business running a plant will want to make sure that it's available and it bids in, provided that it can bid in the price that it wants. So this capacity gap, a couple of things. One, the ancillary services market should help. Two, there's work on the zero pricing, although that's been a problem to ensure that there's sufficient nominations in. But the ultimate solution obviously is competition through there, that people want to sell and will be always ready to sell at a moment's notice, given the right price. Anyway, I'll pass on to Toots.
Regarding the capacity gap, if there's anyone penalized, the market surveillance and the committee as well as the enforcement and compliance office is still looking into it. So,
What steps to take to narrow the gap?
to narrow the gap, with enforcement of the market rules as well as the possibility of looking to the applicability or some applicability of the rules in the local condition or on our generators. Okay, so there's we could review the rules if there's really a need to amend the rules, or as well as enforce the market rules that this is a mandatory market. The generators will submit their available capacity as offered in the market.
May I just, I guess, clarify? We have identified the capacity gap as a problem. It is in many ways an enormous problem for us particularly, which is why there has been communication with the Energy Regulatory Commission as well as the Department of Energy. Ultimately, I'm not too worried about the capacity gap vis-a-vis price. I'm worried about the capacity gap vis-a-vis sufficiency of power. The market is blind half the time, so you don't really know whether there will be power the next few hours or not in certain circumstances. Although it's improved lately, these are things, again, that are beyond us national security already. So there's only so much we can do from the market side.
Can you please update us on WESM operations in the Visayas? Participants, infrastructure, potentials, deadline of operation.
Currently, we are targeting for a resolution of all the technical issues in the Visayas for December of this year. And we're hoping to get a live dispatch operation going in the Visayas by that time. But as mentioned, the go signal or the final say would still have to come from the Department of Energy on whether they will start opening the spot market there in the Visayas, given the demand and supply situation.
Question. Why are prices in the Visayas negative when there is undercapacity in that region?
I think we have to clarify if this is part of the trial operation program result or this is part of the commercial operation program which is happening right now in the Luzon region. If it is the latter, meaning the commercial operation program, the prices in the Visayas were meant to be put on a negative so that it would isolate itself from the trading in the Luzon. price clearing as well as the dispatch. So until such time that the Visayas go on commercial operation, that's the only time that we will release the actual prices in the Visayas, meaning we will allow them to vary based on the bids and offers of the participants in Visayas. Now, if you're talking about the trial operations program, it should not be always negative. Probably it could be negative during periods of constraints on the HVDC interconnection between Leyte and Luzon. Other than that, you could really interface with the trial operation program and even set your own prices through your bids and offers.
The next question is about membership. Why should there be membership in the PEMC when the APIRA and its IRR does not identify the formation of a PEMC? Does membership in the PEMC mean membership in the WESM, or does being a WESM member, by definition of law, require membership in the PEMC?
Well, I could take a stab at that. Maybe have we sila cell downstairs? That's all right. If they're nasa baba na sila cell. Isel, hi. Question about PEMC membership.
You do not see it in the WESM rules, but the law IRR mentions an autonomous group market operator. You cannot exist. I mean, all lawyers would know this probably, that you cannot exist, sue and be sued, or become something unless you become a corporate entity. That corporate entity is the Philippine Electricity Market Corporation, now as an autonomous group market operator. After 1 year, it just becomes your governance.
There are actually 3 questions here. Number 1, what is the status of selecting IPP administrators? Number 2, how will the IPP administrator process work? And number 3, what is the status of studies of the formation of a forward contract market for energy, as well as other derivative contracts such as contracts for differences and options, possible implementation schedule? So the first 2 questions are related. It's about IPP administrators.
If all right with the audience, I think that's more properly addressed to FISAM, and perhaps after the meeting there may be some FISAM representatives. But again, it's I don't want to presume or to answer that, the mechanics and everything through there. On the third question on the forwards market, can you repeat the question on the forwards?
What is the status of the studies of the formation of a forward contract market for energy, as well as other derivative contracts such as contracts for differences and options, possible implementation schedule?
In terms of the technical implementation of a forwards market, it's fairly straightforward, especially in a low volume, low volatility market. The main problem is really the currency that will be traded on a forwards market, which is the forward contract for difference type. These have to be issued out into the market, and the market by the participants themselves, and the ones who are going to be either financially securing that contract or delivering energy to that contract. So these are things that we're still setting. Technically, we should be ready by first half next year, probably. But again, there are a lot of things that we need to work out with the participants themselves, as well as a market-making function. However, initially we see it as a fairly straightforward bulletin board, where if you have excess capacity that is on a forward contract, you can then say that I'm ready to sell this. And if there are buyers for those, they can pick those up. Very early stages, 10 years from now, you can have fully automated exchange, or maybe less than that. But again, it's a first step to have standardized contracts and at least a bulletin board where you can trade these contracts. So hopefully by the middle of next year, if not earlier.